Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Maggio, and I'm here to share with you on finding romance on the autism spectrum. First off, I'm not going to BS you by saying that it's easy, because it's not easy finding in romance on the spectrum. Um, the key thing is to try to be patient and try to be and try to be have a strong social skill, because the stronger your social skill, the more likely you are with romance. But always know what the right thing to say to a girl or guy, depending on your sexual taste, is, and know what's the right thing to say and what's the wrong thing to say. And some of you who may be maybe 18 plus that are watching is saying, but I know this already. Why are you reminding us about romance? Well, even if you are older, sometimes as we get older, we forget the lessons when it comes to finding romance. And I'm here just to remind you. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, you always want to be appropriate. Now I get it. Some of us who may be watching are New Yorkers, and we tend to be blunt on certain things. Reality is we have to try to be appropriate no matter who our audience is. Yes. And also trying to understand the person's likes, their dislikes, and try to be flexible with them. Now, I get that some of you may have a huge challenge when it comes to appropriateness and flexibility. And if you make it as a ISP goal, you're more likely to get romance. Man, man's quicker if you keep on practicing that goal of appropriateness and flexibility. Now you're probably watching this thinking, but but that's just who I am. I'm blonde. I have no filter. That's not true. Just because you're on the spectrum doesn't mean you have no filter. You too have a filter, and you got to control it. Because if your filter is not controlled, you are most likely not to have yourself a girlfriend or boyfriend, and so you always got to keep yourself in control of filter and appropriateness, and while at the same time trying to be flexible. Yes, I know change. Yes, I know when we plan things, we always try to stick to the plan, and when it gets changed at the last minute, it causes major irritation. But when you're dating someone, you gotta learn to be flexible and try to go around that. Like, for example, say you were dating a nurse. Dating a nurse is very challenging, and because they are on the clock and can miss a lot of events. And if you do date a nurse, which I applaud you for dating a frontline worker, you have to understand their stress point just as they will understand your stress point. Flexibility is about understanding in each side of the issue of your stress. Yes, yes. Like for example, let's say not that it will ever happen, but this is just a pure example. Let's say I were to date this nice interviewee, Michelle here. Now, now, now she likes superhero heroes. I don't like Marvel superheroes. Those, I like horror films. She doesn't. Then how do you balance that out? Out, out. Simple. No, try to find something that combines the two subjects. Like maybe find a superhero slash horror flick, or maybe try to be flexible with superhero, just as they'll be flexible with horror. It's all about finding flexibility to the things that each of your partner would like. Now, before I continue, you know, I'm assuming that the interviewee has some questions.
That so far what you provided out, those were very excellent points that you said there, especially when it comes to flexibility, because that's a very hard, like that was always a big thing that a lot of people on the spectrum have a hard time with, because what we stick to is our own interest in the way that what we enjoy. So my question to me is that like besides with what you were saying, like what are some other ways that people could build on when it comes to flexibility? Like what are some more tips that you have about that?
Patience. Students, you definitely need patience in a relationship. Regardless whether you're on the spectrum or not, you need patience. And you always got to take it slow with it. Don't rush it. I mean, I get it. Get it. Our great grandparents got married at 18. Well, guess what? This is 2021. We are in an age where getting married at 18 is impossible and more challenging thanks to the economy. So you really just got to be patient. And who cares if you get married at age 30, 35, 40? What matters is you have to be patient with romance and double time when it comes to starting a family. You just got to be patient, like, because if you lose patience, the romance is going to skew badly. And of course, you got to have patience when it comes to ready to go into intercourse. Of course, that's for another subject. And I can tell that there may be some kids watching this, so I'm not going to get into the dirty details.
That yeah, exactly about with that. But the big thing about with this topic is that when it comes to dating, like what is your perspective about dating someone who's on the spectrum too versus neurotypical? That was always a big thing that I hear so much about. What is your take about with that?
It really comes down to this on how people see autism. If you are dating someone who see autism as just a neurotypical C and not a disability, you may be in luck. You had a question?
No, I was just showing you.
Right. Anyway, you may be in luck. Because that person understands that autism is more than just a mental health stigma. It's a stigma of many things and many possibility. But I have encountered some girls, not that I dated them, but I have encountered some girls and some guys who see autism just as a disability, never everything else, never the talents of reading between the lines, never the talents of knowing numbers or letters, depending on their strong point. And always see the stereotype of autism as just knowing numbers. Like for I was never good at math. Heck, I can't even tell my parts to my division. So it's probably not a good idea to have me as an accountant. So, but in, but in the end, and if you're dating if your child or yourself is dating one who is one who is not on the spectrum, or let's say, and say they see them as just a disability, and chances are they're just loving you as a disability, and they're probably going to take advantage of you, and that's the worst thing that could happen. But should you date someone that sees you as a genius, yes, with disadvantages and don't see disability, that's something. It's not easy to find someone like that, but there are far worse things where you can find a girl. And between you and me, Tinder is not the best option.
Yeah, when it comes to actually, this leads to the next question that I have is when it comes to with dating apps, that how do you feel about with that? I can already tell already that you're against that. I feel like something about from what you were starting to say is that you're not really into that much with dating apps, and why do you not recommend that?
I wouldn't recommend dating apps because oh because they may post a certain picture. A girl may post a certain picture showing some cleavage of their navel, legs, their breasts, and all. But looks can be deceiving, and if you fall for those looks and turns out this girl turns out to be a nightmare date, you are going to get abused, not just emotionally, but physically. And double time if a woman were to fall for a guy just looking at a picture of six-pack abs and all. Because I will say this, even even women on the spectrum get raped too, and it is not a pretty sight. And when all the people on the spectrum fall for these types of dating app traps, apps, it's going to lead to a world of hurt, not just on you, but on your family, on your friends. And so I wouldn't do Tinder. But if you do Tinder, you were warned.
Exactly. Those are really good points about with ways that in regards to about with dating apps, which people should be aware about anyway, in regards about that. But the key takeaways here that, and I want to thank Andrew for coming on to share about with this topic, because it is a very important topic that not just for people living on the spectrum, but just for people in general to know that too. And the point that you should be understanding the person for themselves, not just for not just for the disability.
Exactly.
That's the key takeaway here. So thank you, Andrew, so much for coming on to share your message.
No problem.